Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the Cricket Clash slash Wordle, because it looks like we're all having loads and loads of fun in that. Even Word behind the scenes trying to guess it. Yeah, who guessed Kappa? What the heck? That was it. But it is what it is. But we are in round number 5 now of Cricket Clash. That means we are 1 round away from working out who's going to be in our top 4. So we're going to bring you one of our winning in matches, nice and easy. Who is it going to be, Anu?
We've got Ash playing against Nathan Stoyer. We've seen both of these players so far battling it out. Now, keeping in mind right now the records, right? Nathan Stoyer is X1, Ash is X2. But the way the breakers are working out right now, there's a chance that with a win, Ash might be able to make it into that last slot for the top 4, assuming the cards fall into the right spots. So we're going to take a real quick look here at Ash's deck. It's the red-white Boros, the Boros Foundry deck that we saw a little bit earlier. Will, you were saying that you like this deck a lot. You know this a little bit. Can you explain the 1-2 punch here? What's going on with this deck?
So on any deck involves turning things sideways and trying to get your opponent dead with a grip for the cards is my sort of deck, and this is exactly it. You've got the powerful cards like the 1-drop of Ragavan, but Foundry really is the card that we want to see in our opening hand. We want to be able to use this to, in the late game, we can kind of use the untap ability and generate a lot of little tokens, but realistically, it is that bottom ability. Sacrifice a Foxer, make a 4/4 colorless construct. And obviously, you see that we've got Ornithopter in our deck. Not really a great card. 0 mana for 0/2 fly. Not the best, most powerful thing we've seen today, but turning that turn 1 into a 4/4, piling on that pressure super early. This is exactly what Ash wants to do. And then we've got some late game stuff like Reign of Truth, where once our battlefield's full of enchantments and artifacts, we can really power up our creatures, potentially a 0/2 flying Ornithopter that can't be blocked and get that across the line. And then we've got a few creature lands like Mutavolts, Den of the Bugbears if the game does kind of go a little bit long. But over on the other side, got a pretty good opponent that she's going against. She's going against, obviously, Nathan Stoyer, the Prince of Magic on this Rakdos Breach list. I know you're a Breach fan. Talk me through it.
Yeah, so for anybody who knows the most iconic pick of Nathan Stoyer, him as like a 5-year-old just winning a pro tour, this is kind of how I envision this is going to go. He's just got the most broken deck in the format, arguably, right? Storm is a mechanic where when it is doing good, it is eating so good. And you can see it here in the card Tendrils of Agony. That card says target player loses 2 and you gain 2, has Storm written on it. So the goal is for Nathan to cast 10 spells in a single turn. How is he doing that? Well, it's alongside the help of a card called Underworld Breach, a card so powerful it is banned in Pioneer and it is banned in Legacy. Using Underworld Breach, you can recast your favorite spells like Dark Ritual, Diabolic Intent, sacrificing something like a Stitcher's Supplier over and over again. You've got something like Demonic Tutor as well to tutor up your Tendrils of Agony. And all along the way, you've got Dragon's Rage Channeler, Orcish Bowmasters, and Ragavan, arguably the 3 strongest creatures in the format to sort of, get you from the early game into the mid game into that combo finish at the very end. To top it all off, this deck also has Luris of the Dreams as its companion. So this is high power, octane energy, all gas. I want to see how this match goes and who's going to maybe secure that top 4 slot.
Yeah, let's get down to the match. I did think it was funny. The second you send Underworld Breach, a random wild Kai Baumeister pops into the chat, talking about famous Floric. That man loves a bit of Underworld Breach as we look at both opening hands. And this is going to be huge. We're going to see Ash on the play. And look, double Foundry. We had the Molder 6, but we've got double Foundry. No red mana. That could be an issue the further the game goes. But I think I'd be inclined to kind of keep this hand here and maybe push back one of these red cards.
Yeah, it is going to be tricky here, but the ability for Retrofitter Foundry to put something like a 4/4 in play as fast as turn 1 or 2, sacrificing something like an Ornithopter, or maybe the O2 Ornithopter token that comes out of Yodia Declares War, is very, very, very aggressive, right? This is the kind of thing that you would expect to see in a high-powered format, similar to Timeless like Modern or Legacy, just turn for aggression. Now, the interesting thing about this, too, is that unlike your other formats, this format is just the Goldilocks so far. The games that we've seen, the matches that have been played, it's the Goldilocks, the right amount of power versus balance. So typically you might see in Legacy or Vintage a Storm deck combo off as fast as turn 1, usually on turn 2 or 3. I don't think that's actually going to happen here, which means the 4/4s can actually cross the finish line. Very important to have.
Yeah, I wonder if you could do it on turn 2. I wonder if there's some sort of craziness that you can have, because obviously you need to have red mana, no mana Milfo, so any shenanigans can manipulate better mana. I would be interested to know what's the earliest it can combo off this turn, but dream matchup here for myself. I would love to play against Nathan Stoyer, really test myself against one of the literally the best players in the world. Had an absolutely amazing 18 months of Magic, this young lad. He's won a world championships, he's won a pro tour, he's top 8 in multiple more, and he's just growing and growing as a player. He's still in the early stages of his career.
All right, we're going to see double Retrofitter Foundry come into play, and this makes sense. Empty the hand, use all your mana. You definitely do need that extra red source here, so that you can play your enchantment. Also use the 3rd mana source to play Luris. Okay, Barb Spike, not exactly the red source, but
It makes
I do believe it puts Thopter in play, right?
Yeah, I believe that 1/1 flight is a Thopter, so we can turn that into a 4/4 anytime we like. Dark Ritual off the top is a big hit. Potentially, I don't know the math. I don't know if this is a turn that we can kill or not. We've got a way to 2, or we've got a way to get mana. I think we'll probably run an Underworld Breach, maybe away from winning here. But this Orcish Bowmaster is turned off from killing the Thopter, because normally if someone's got 1 toughness, it's going to be great. But we can sack it or we can give it protection, depending on how it kind of plays out here. It's going to be pretty crazy.
So this is kind of interesting, right? Dark Ritual gives us an additional 2 mana. We have a land drop, so that's a total of 3, 4, 5 mana this turn. So we could sequence something like Dark Ritual into Diabolic Intent, sacrifice the Sister Supplier, put a couple more cards into the graveyard, tutoring up something like Underworld Bridge. And I said turn 3 may be a bit too fast, but is Nathan Story just going to prove me wrong here? Do we actually just have a way to win?
I don't know. We might do. We're going to find out if it is. If it is, he knows the line already. If it is, he is obviously at this point 3-1. So I imagine he's done this multiple times so far. And Ash has just got to sit back and watch. That's an Underworld Breach in hand. Land drop for the turn. We've got enough mana to play it. Are we going to start ritualing off? Oh my! Are we doing it? Are we doing it?
So. Yeah. Let's take a look at Nathan's perspective, maybe to get a better understanding of what's in his graveyard, because that's a lot of cards popping out now, and that means he's going to be able to cast multiple spells this turn. The metric, the minimum is you have to escape 3 cards every time here, but with the Dragon's Rage Channeler in play, you're actually adding cards to your graveyard as you cast your spell, so that's only 2 cards. I think Nathan has this one locked up. He's going to find a way to piece it together. I'm not going to even try to bother with the calculations here, but essentially the line is going to be generate a bunch of mana by casting Dark Ritual multiple times, and then use Diabolic Intent to sacrificing the Dragon's Rage Channeler to pick up a copy of Tendrils of Agony, which with Storm Count 10 is going to be lethal on turn 3.
Well, no, you make it quick, right? You just recast a Stitch Supplier, put another 3 cards in your graveyard, sack that, put another 3 in your graveyard. Nathan is going through the motions here, ladies and gentlemen, hitting on an absolute masterclass. What's the Storm Count at the minute? It doesn't matter. It is going to be game momentarily, as long as he doesn't misclick. I suppose I don't think auto tapper can get you here at any point. So he is just turning and burning through the motions. Here we go. We get to look from Nathan's perspective. We get to all pretend that we are a world champion, that we are a pro tour champion. And I think Ash is also like, we get the GGs there. She is fully aware at this point that the game is over, and a player of Nathan's caliber is not going to mess us up. Okay, so Storm Count is 7 currently. Tendrils would be 8. That's going to hand. We just need to cast a couple more rituals. This Mistress Bulbul in the graveyard, and that's going to be game.
Yeah, the Dragon's Rage Channeler can also just attack too after the Tendrils resolves for Storm Count is 8 or 9, or Storm Count 9.
It would be good, but it would be blocks. There is a flyer on this.
Oh yeah. Never mind. No, this is. Oh my god! I would have messed this game up right after having lethal. So I take 2 steps back, shake Nathan's hand, and walk out the door with my tail in between my legs. But that's gonna be lethal there. Tendrils of Agony. That was super sick, and it kind of goes to show how this matchup is terrifying. I mentioned it earlier. Rakdos Breach is a deck that we have not yet really talked about, and there are murmurs that this might just be one of, if not the best deck in the format. One thing that we absolutely need to see is how this deck operates in the face of disruption, right? So you can see already Grafdigger's Cage coming in from the sideboard, unlicensors coming in from the sideboard. And when you have these elements combined with a fast clock, you have potentially a great recipe for a deck that can take down the menace of Ragavan and Underworld Breach.
I'm trying to look at what options we've got if something like the Grafdigger Cage come in. Like, how can we get it off the battlefield over on Nathan's side? I see and a braid. He's also got a grape shot in the deck. Potentially, that might just be another alternative. Could we go for like their beatdown plan and get that for like 6-7 and try and finish the game that way? Be interesting to see. He's got a molten collapse that could deal with it. Other than that, it doesn't. He's got no ways to recur anything. Yeah. I didn't get good. Did he bring in Deathrite Shamans potentially to try and have that as an alternate with con, or is he just going to stick to the Dragon Rage Channelers? Basically the Rakdos beatdown plan that we've seen so many times in modern, so to speak.
I'm going. Wow, wait. I didn't actually even realize this. Nathan is sideboarding Deathrite Shaman. That is the most interesting decision. Alongside, this is a small thing that I noticed earlier. Missman in the blue-black deck was sideboarding a card like Demonic Tutor, which is a thought that I had as well, but I wasn't sure about it. But it's very interesting that how this is kind of just like the wild, wild west when it comes to deck construction. So much power and so much innovation that can be applied, like what we're seeing here. Now, boarding in the Deathrite Shaman, I don't know if I actually saw it. I may have missed it coming in, but we did see it earlier. It would be a nice way to sort of transition from leaning very much so into the combo role into leaning into a more flex style of play, which honestly is like where you kind of want to be, because the more and more I think about it, the more I would prefer Rakdos Breach to be a combo mid-range deck or a combo control deck as opposed to just a dedicated combo deck. Those are the kind of decks that can be a little bit more fragile unless the power level is definitely there. We'll see how these games play out, but I'm pretty excited to see what might happen here for Nathan.
Well, we see a keep for both players here. We've got the powerful turn one play from Ash. We've got the Foundry into an Ornithopter. We've got a Grafdigger's Cage in hand, as well as an unlicensed Hearst and enough mana to cast both. Over on the other side, we've got Nathan. Does have that Molten Collapse. It does have an answer to the Cage. Doesn't have an answer to Hearst, though. He's going to have to draw that Abrade that he's got in his deck somewhere. But maybe this is going to be too much damage coming too quickly for Ash here. It's going to be real interesting to see how this kind of pans out. She's decided that she want to put some colored mana on the battlefield. Decides against it? A question mark? With Dark Steel Citadel potentially coming down, because I think we're going to be snapping off this unlicensed Hearst as quick as I can. Yeah, it's coming down.
I like this too. And knowing, because of open deck list, that there's a Molten Collapse in the sideboard, plus some other answers here and there. I do like putting the unlicensed person to play first. It also just answers the Dragon's Rage channel a little bit more cleanly in this stage of the game here and leverages the power of the 4/4 a bit better. So this is the kind of start that I'm talking about, right? You have pressure, you have disruption. Nathan, the ball is in your court. How are you going to go about this?
I like this fetch land, both modes of this Molten Collapse. We get to not only deal with the creature, but also a one-drop non-creature, which is obviously going to be this Foundry. So both of them are going to go to the graveyard here. But that is the Molten Collapse. Like, that's our one-shot. We've only got 2 of those in the deck, leaving an Abrade and 1 more of them as our answers, potentially, unless we can get like an Underworld Breach going. But I very much doubt that's happening in the face of this unlicensed Hearst.
All right, here it is. Unlicensed Hearst, getting rid of these cards. Dragon's Rage Channeler. And this is something that's really interesting. I've noticed this in Modern 2 and Legacy as well. You stick a Leyline of the Void in play against this style of deck, and the pressure from something like Luris or Dragon's Rage Channeler really just isn't there. So I almost wonder if this deck really can't operate without having a graveyard, then that is a very clear weakness in the angle of attack that you should go after. You can see Ash is doing exactly that.
Oh, this Deathrite Shaman might, not Deathrite, sorry, this Dragon Mage Shalom. I was going to say might get there, but then Lightning Bolt gets drawn by Ash, so it's definitely not going to get there. Luris in hand with our land drop. We can return this Foundry if we want to from the graveyard, especially before we start getting this Cage down and turning off our own Luris. I think that might be the line. We know Nathan's got the answer though. Fetch land plus Fatal Push would be able to deal with that quite easily. But Foundry being on the battlefield again, we've talked about how good this card can be. And just a simple pass the turn back. Pretty good turn there for Ash. How can Nathan respond? Dark Ritual is going to help.
Dark Ritual is always good, right? You know, your hand doesn't seem crazy good in this exact instance, but Diabolic Intent does represent every single card in your deck. And with the Dragon's Rage Channeler in play, that isn't really even doing too much right now because of the unlicensed Hearst that is sort of mitigating the graveyard buildup. I think it makes sense to maybe try to pivot out of this current game plan and pursue a different strategy. I mean, that is one of the things that would make this deck, if you can actually do that in this matchup when your opponent is showing you disruption, that makes this even more terrifying. So let's see if there's a pivot angle here, and if not, how the next few turns are going to play out.
I guess we've got to go something along that. So this failed push resolve was we've got to go edict to go find our braid and a braid the Hearst. That might be the long game sort of line here, because we know there's no Lewis coming back on the other side of the battlefield. We've got a Lewis in hand, so we're going to have if we've got anything to bring back, we can be bringing it back. I'm looking. Okay, yeah. So we're going to cast Lewis here. With 0 targets to bring back, just a generic 3/2 life blinker, and Ash does have the answer. Another Foundry off the top. Or we could, I suppose, you could just play Cage and ignore the Lewis, but when you're an aggro deck, you don't really want the life link on the other side.
Okay, here comes another Retrofitter Foundry. And you also can use 2 mana for the fair mode on Retrofitter Foundry to create the servo, which then can later upgrade to a Thopter, which then can also upgrade into a 4/4. Looks like instead we are going to elect to play Grafdigger's Cage, which is honestly...
I don't like. I actually like it. I think I play it because if something bad happens and it gets taken out of my hand, I'm kind of shocked. I think I just play it now. My Lewis is gone. I'm not getting anything back. My game plan is solely on the battlefield right now with this unlicensed Hearst and these Foundries. It's a hard call because you got to win the game at some point, right? It's just a fly off the top.
Okay, that's fascinating. Yeah, this is really interesting. I think the other reason that I'm kind of just happy to play the Grafdigger's Cage is this 1/1 is the only bit of pressure that Nathan Wright has right now. And I'll be quite frank, in the face of 2 Retrofitter Foundries that will be generating 1/1s, just without any sort of downside or whatever, I think it makes sense to mitigate the risk of getting the Grafdigger's Cage removed from the hand. But again, let me also double check. Do we even know? We do have Thoughtseize in the deck. Maybe we actually boarded the Thoughteizes out since we're playing against a pretty aggressive deck.
Yeah,
hard to say.
I could see that being a thing. So we're gonna go search. So this is where we two up, right? We go and find a abrupt no, a braid. We go find a braid here. But we've had something good in the graveyard, so we can go find the molten collapse. No, molten collapse doesn't do it because it's creature. Yeah, it's got to be a braid for the Hearst, I think, and then that turns back on the rest of our deck.
Okay, so actually, then maybe it is kind of cunning here to not deploy the Grafdigger's Cage.
Yes, I don't know
because of the nature of whoa.
Hold on a minute. Have we missed lethal and don't know it? Surely not, because I suppose 2 cards get exiled. Is there just enough cards in the graveyard now? No way is this happening. No, I'm not having it. No way.
He has 11 cards in his graveyard.
But hold on, we've got Dark Ritual. That into Dark Ritual. I would not like to be in Ash's place right now.
Yeah, this is so tricky. Okay. Wait a minute. I thought the unlicensed Hearst was going to be sufficient, but are we just dead here because we didn't play the Grafdigger's Cage?
I don't know. This is the sort of spot that I always feel like I make the wrong line in. As I'm like, hold on, am I meant to exile that now or that now? And that's what's going through Ash's head right now. Like, well, if this hits the battlefield, he can start casting stuff. What do I exile? Do I exile both Dark Rituals here? Do I, I suppose there's 2 black mana. What's the worst that could happen? We go Edict to this Thoughtseize result. Is this like a value?
Wait, this is actually kind of crazy because think about this too, right? You like the cards that dig you further into the deck are what? There's Diabolic Intent, right? That can tutor. You could sack the Citrus Supplier, or you can sack the Dragon's Rage Channeler to get something like an action spell. There's also the Citrus Supplier, which is going to mill 3 cards. And then there's also the Dragon Rage Channeler that's giving you Surveil. So, okay, we got rid of
both Dark Rituals. I think that's the how I would have played that turn out. To be fair, I think both Dark Rituals is the line. Do we have to get real crazy here, right? Like we cast a Thoughtseize and we mill Dark. No, because there's not enough cards in our graveyard for that to happen. Maybe we go for a value turn.
There's
Play
10
one
cards in the
drop.
graveyard, which means we only get to cast 3 spells. Actually, that's not true. Because of the Dragon's Rage Channeler, we get to put a couple of extra cards in the graveyard. So we could maybe even bounce up to a 4th spell or a 5th if we really optimize it.
This is well. Do we have to? I just don't know. I don't know what we need to hit. Tendrils of Agony in the graveyard. I think that means we've got to go off this turn, right? We now can't do that because the Tendrils is going to get taken, so it's going to go to a fair game.
What Tendrils is going to get taken? Sorry, what do you mean by that?
I think like Tendrils is in the graveyard now, so now we're going to have this Unlicensed Hearse next turn.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Untap and eat it, so that's going to be taken off the table.
Got you.
So we've got to go to our fair plan, which if it's just a generic load of 1/1s, I've got to say it's probably going to be swinging back, especially with Lightning Bolts being drawn that cannot deal with it.
Okay, all right. I think Nathan tried to just like cobble something together there and get like a value breach. We've seen those before. If there was something that allowed us to advance any further, unfortunately the pieces were not quite there, and so now it certainly does get. I mean, this deck is hard. This deck is hard. It is not easy.
Ash, oh my god, a braid off the top. Does that do anything? That's like, I don't know what that's like. I don't know what's happening right now.
I think it's like not good enough. I'm going to be very honest with you. It's a little bit too late. I think if we had drawn it a turn before we had tried to combo off.
Oh, it'd be, I think that's game if it is.
Yeah.
Blow it up. And Ash is not inclined at that spot to get rid of the Dark Rituals.
Okay, it looks like the servo is going to get in the way of a Sister Supplier here. A Braid going to go after this. This makes sense. And then in response, or before damage, after blocks, we're going to sack the servo and upgrade it into a Thopter. I think that makes a lot of sense here.
That's definitely the... I think you take Lurrus as the other card here. Or is there some sort of breach lightning bolt thing going on? Ash is only at 9. Like a top deck 2/2 as well. Okay, so we're going to go for 2 and our combo card. That's going to get destroyed. We're now going to upgrade our servo to a Thopter. Take 1 point, drop to 8. Make a 4/4 end of turn. I don't even know. I don't know who's ahead. I don't know. Like, who would you say is ahead here? I guess the 4/4s and double Thopter Foundry's clearly ahead.
What's a word that rhymes with ash and is also a noun?
Come on, you're speaking to a dyslexic person now. Don't do this to me.
Okay, I wanted to spam something in the chat to root for Ash. I think Ash is very ahead here. Has the engine set up. Has cash. There you go. Spam this cash to root for Ash. I think.
Creators Clash.
Ooh, wait, that's the way. Oh, that's okay. Yeah, watch this clash and root for Ash. How about that? That's a pretty good one too. Oh yeah, I see. This is. I knew if I just said it out loud, chat with their Wardle brain would be able to figure this all out. Well done, thank you. And meanwhile, 4/4s are going to come into play and the Retrofitter Foundries. This is one of the things I like about this card so much is that not only is it powerful in the early game by being able to convert your O2 Thopters into aggressive 4/4s, but in the late game, they are self-sustaining engines that just generate incremental value over time. Now, it's not like the most value that you could seek to get here, but in these board states, once everything has been reduced and simmered down to just a thick sauce or whatever of nothingness, you get this. This is the kind of boards that you get exactly. It's fantastic. This is great.
Is this lethal? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. +7 plus the 1. We make a servo.
Yeah, this is lethal, right?
It's lethal. Yeah. We put it on the flyer. Unblockable flyer. We make a servo in response. We make a servo now, and then we give it +8/+8, and we're going to go game number 3. I'm stupid. What did I miss? Oh, the lands. The lands are artifacts. Oh yeah, we're going to game 3.
Yeah. So Citadel, and this also counts enchantments, so it counts itself, and then 10/10. Yeah, this is perfect. Yeah, we get a game 3. Yes, I want to see another upset. I'll be honest.
Okay, let's go. I'm down for it. Are we just gonna get a snap? Snap from my hand from I'm happy with my 60 cards. Just snap. Let's go back. I'm game. Or we're gonna try and play a bit of mind games here on my opponent. Oh, I took a little bit of time sideboarding. I definitely bought some cards in and took some cards out. Played all dependent. It's gonna be interesting. And then we see Nathan's gonna be throw it back. Ash is still having a little think. Let's have a little Ganders. What's going? Well, what could you think we bring it? Do we? I don't want Ragavans while I'm on the draw. Don't want like swords isn't going to do much. Does Blood Moon stop this deck? I'm guessing not. 3 swamps in there. Dark Ritual gets out and probably not great. I should have a little think. Remember, lifeline on the line with if Nathan wins this, he's pretty much locked for a top 4. If Ash wins this, she's got an outside shot of getting in. It's gonna be pretty cool.
Upset. Say it with me, Will. Upset. I don't know. This is pretty sweet, and I also think it's kind of interesting because this is like one of the very few aggro decks that have been actually submitted into this general list of decks, and I'm very excited to see this kind of like deck building innovation succeed. What's really interesting to me is whether or not this deck can act as the foil to something like Rakdos Breach. Now, keeping in mind though, in that game that Nathan did try to combo off, and I am going to say that it was a failed combo. I don't know if Nathan had something specific in mind and then just didn't get there or went in a different direction or something like that. But I think so far this matchup has been quite close and pretty exciting.
It's definitely been closer than I thought. Well, it has to be. We're going to a game 3, right? Both players doing their game plan. Nathan with a 1-lander here, double bauble. How greedy do you want to get? But he does have the breach in hand. Where over on Ash's side, I see double shrapnel blast and double ornithopter. I don't know if that's exactly the power we're going for right now. I think I need a bit more of an explosive start than 10 damage on turn 3.
I mean, it is kind of cool though, right?
Oh, I'm a huge fan of Shrapnel Blast. I love that card. I think it's so good. I've been known to play a few Hammer Time decks in my time, like splashing red for it.
All right. Well, we're down to 6 now. We have Ornithopter, Springleaf Drum, and Inti, which is pretty cool here. And then a couple of lands. How do you feel about this hand?
Yeah, I think this is more a keep on 6. I don't think going down to 5, I'm going to have as good a chance of getting this game closed down. I think I've got what I want to be doing here. I can kill things on the other side of the battlefield. I can grow my creatures to attack. It can be kind of explosive with a Springleaf Drum, I guess. So like if I draw, depending on how good the top of my deck is, let's keep going. I'm kind of good with this. I think I keep this on 6 and potentially pick back the Sacred Foundry probably, or the Springleaf Drum. I think I'd go Sacred Foundry as I don't really have a 1-drop. But Inti on the other side, all my cards in my hand, I can just discard. If I draw 2 land, I can discard them, turn them to fresh cards and +1/+1 counters. We haven't really seen the superpower of that card yet.
Yeah, but it is pretty strong here. Are there any other discard synergies that work alongside Inti in this deck? I'm gonna do some homework right now and see if I can find something cool.
I don't think so. I don't think there's any like super cool discoveries. It's more of a kind of a draw engine.
Okay,
the
value
game
2-drop.
goes.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's really cool. I've played with it quite a lot in the Boros aggressive strategies and cube recently. But we're off to the races. Game number 3, starting off with a vicious bauble for Nathan Story at the top of your screen. He's using the old scry trick with a fetch land. Does he like that card on top of his deck, which I imagine is a land he's looking for? It is not. So he's going to crack it now and get this. Play the second bauble. Look at my opponent's deck. I don't really need to look at your own, I guess. Oh, I suppose he's looking at it now to see if he wants to mill it out of the way. Loads of different ways to manipulate the top of his deck. I like it.
That's cool.
3 non-land cards, and then draws the 2 land off the top with both baubles.
That's so cool. All right, you learn a little bit of something here every day, right? Just optimizing sequencing and things, and that's why I like these kind of events too. I don't know, just like learning from the best, so that I don't have to do my homework. I think we already talked about this a little bit earlier, right? All of these players are here just building decks for all of us to play, which you can next Sunday, by the way, in the Timeless Open Entry 1K. If you type Open entry, I think.
You
I really
made
should.
it.
I really should know this, right?
You walk out, you start typing random things in chat until you find it, and I'll talk through what's going on in the battlefield. As a declaration in stone is drawn here for Ash. Obviously, great exile card here. That will not pick things in the graveyard. This Inky, not this Stitch Supplier would not go to the graveyard if that's how we want to fire off. I don't think that's what we want to be doing, but it is something we could be doing. We're looking at this Inti in hand, but in the face of 2 mana, what could it be? We could be playing a Fatal Push, Lightning Bolts, Orchestra Masters. Nathan does have 2 of those 3 that I just mentioned, as well as a Dark Ritual and a Breach. So it looks like, oh yeah, Lightning Bolt's getting in the straight off the battlefield. Don't want to be dealing with that right now. None of that shenanigans, none of that nonsense. And it makes this Ornithopter still a 0-2, not great at attacking, but it's pretty good at blocking right now because it's just a 1-1 on the other side. Tendrils of Agony drawn for the turn, though, the vital combo piece that is needed. Have you found the command yet, my good sir?
I like in the back of your head, you're just like 5 seconds of stalling, 4 seconds. Yeah. So the link is in the chat there for anybody who does want to sign up and compete in Timeless. Take one of our creators' decks and jam it, or come up with your own brew to beat everything and anything in your path. I'd love to see what the metagame looks like after next Sunday. Now going back to the match here, this is kind of interesting. The way the game is playing out, I feel like Ash doesn't have too much going on here. Notably, there isn't a retrofitter foundry to leverage these ornithopters. So I think this is very important to sort of learn, what does this deck do when it doesn't have the 1-2 punch, the combo.
Dawdle, I think, is the correct word. Dawdle. Like, we really need that explosive start to keep applying pressure, because Nathan's just stalling at this point. He's just building up his hand, building the resources. He's pretty much got it. I think he would like something like a Dragon Rage Channeler or a tutor effect in his hand here, and we're off to the races. He's just going to be going combo, and taking this game down. It is on Ash to close this game down as quick as she possibly can to stop Nathan from doing that. But I really feel he's only a card or 2 away from actually, being able to do a super explosive combo turn like that we've seen him do. Orcus Bowmaster is going to be the play end of turn fetch. Orcus Bowmaster's ping a Stitch Supplier, put 4 more cards into our graveyard, and there's the card that we needed. That's the tutor effect. I think we're going to see Nath just kind of speed up a little bit here.
12 cards in the graveyard. Yes. Yeah. 12 cards in the graveyard with the Underworld Breach. You get to cast at least, I guess in this instance, it's going to be 3 spells because you have multiples of 3 and you have to have the card. So it's like usually like 3 times X plus 1 is the number of cards you need in your graveyard to cast X spells. I know that's a little bit of math and it's a little bit complicated, confusing, but that's the general heuristic here. So we're going to see whether we can generate enough Storm. We do have Dark Ritual, we do have Stitcher Supplier, and we do have Diabolic Intent. And in some capacity, this allows us to extend our combo. Now, the question is whether or not we're going to be able to cross the finish line and hit that critical amount of Storm. Now, let me do some math in my big brain for just one quick second here. So we play Dark Ritual, that's -3 cards. We play Stitcher Supplier, that's minus another 3 cards. So that's 6 cards we need in our graveyard. We play Diabolic Intent, sacrificing the Stitcher Supplier, that's 9 cards, but then we go back up to 6. So we need a baseline of 9 cards, and then every loop would cost us 6 to re-enter the loop. So that means
Stitcher Supply is perfect, right? 3 when it enters, 3 when it leaves. So
yeah. So is that just net even? And it just is a matter of okay, yeah. So that is actually really keen observation.
I'm pretty sure this is lethal. I think we just go Tendrils, and that's the 8th spell. But Nathan's going to go a little bit more. I can't see the Tendrils in his hand. It keeps moving around. But I'm pretty sure we've got enough. 7 here. This is going to be 8, and this is going to be lethal, and we're going to see Nathan Stoyer moving on to a 4-1 record, pretty much locking himself into our top 4 here, ladies and gentlemen. This cut deck is the real deal. Ash put up a great fight, but it's just this deck seems to be way too fast and combo orientated here, as we see Tendrils go on the stack and all these Storm triggers, every single one losing 2 life for Ash, gaining 2 life for Nathan, and it is going to be 1 too many, and Nathan is taking this game down. GG's. Oh, this format is great. This format is great.
One thing I like about this format too, seeing all the decks that we've had today, very diverse metagame, right? Like we've had all of our fair decks, we have these combo decks, and we've also seen a lot of mid-range decks. And we're going into our top four. Let me just double check, Jordan. Do we have our top four ready to go? Okay, I just want to see like the standings. Maybe we'll do the announcement after we come back. We're gonna take a quick break for sure. But definitely timeless. The way this event has gone so far, I'm pretty stoked about it. I do feel like next week Rakdos Breach is going to be one of the better decks. We'll talk about it a little bit more, I'm sure, as the event continues on today.
Well, we've still got 2 more rounds in our top 4 to potentially it'll take it down. Maybe we'll find the deck that beats it. We'll see. We are building a meta, ladies and gentlemen, but we're going to have a short break. We're going to give you some more Wordle because we know that's what you hear. See you soon. Oh. Oh, okay. Right. What we're going to do is we're going to have a short break. In that short break, we're going to Reed is currently streaming. We're going to show you what Reed's streaming right now, so you can see the conclusion of his match. If that is still going on by the time we come back from the break, we're just going to cover it ourselves. We're going to put it on our channel and we'll cast it. If it finishes, then we'll go to Wordle and you'll see us in the top 4. So, Reed Duke, that deck, he's playing against. Come here, please, producer. Oh, against Missman, who had an amazing win last game. So obviously that's going on for ages with that deck. So we're going to go and jump into that, see how they get on, and then if it finishes, we'll come back to Wordle. If not, we'll be back with some broadcast. So on that one, let's go to that matchup, and we'll see you all shortly.
Probably just getting fatal pushed here, but if it works, that's a huge blowout. All right. Back in it. I think Missman only has 1 more Orcish Bowmasters that can deal me damage in the whole 75. Sure. Oh, I guess I have to sweat Archmage's Charm. Probably just bottom that. So how many? There's 4 charms in the main deck that can steal my stuff. Only gone through 1. More Mystic Sanctuaries for sure. I mean, I literally don't think that Mistman can damage me if they make this trade. I think if I just never play a creature for the Archmage's Charm, I guess I can get decked. I have fewer cards. Unless I'm missing something. Oh, there's the commit memory? Yeah, commit memory.
Okay, chat, it's us. We're back. We're going to jump straight into this game live, so you're not going to miss any of the action. Of course, at the top of your screen, we've got Mistman, absolute demoned with this Dimir control deck that we've seen against the Hall of Famer Reed Duke. We see on here that Reed's got a couple of cards in hand. Mistman's just picked up a nice timely Soren's Ransom, but I've got to look at the time on their clocks. It is 6 versus 9 with Mistman 1 game up. So Reed, if he's going to win 2 games, really got to start picking up this pace here and trying to get this going. As a Tom's Ransom is cast, and it's 4 spells. No lands amongst it. What is going to be the split here? Count spell, Lonely End, Cut Down, and was it? What I can't remember the card that was.
Dig through time. Dig through time. Yeah.
Dig through time. Thank you very much.
Yeah, this is really interesting. I think just to catch people up on the board state here, I recall hearing Reed say at some point he was uncertain if there was another win condition left in Mistman's deck. That means all 4 Bowmasters might just be in the graveyard, but then there was a special shout out made to commit to memory, and that might be a way to reset the board game. Now, if Reed is able to win this game, time is going to be of the essence for our final game. 6 minutes on the clock here for Mistman, 8 minutes on the clock here for Reed. Reed casting Expressive Iteration. I was able to find a bunch of cards here that are very, very powerful, including Inquisition of Kozilek and Orcish Bowmasters. We're going to see it fired off here.
Okay, let's have a little look, see what's going on. Okay, so we're going to get the Legion's End out the way, and we're going to start deploying threats, I imagine. Right? Reed, we need to win this game. We've got 8 minutes to win 2 games of Magic. We need to have threats on the battlefield. You currently have 3 in hand. When is the right time to start deploying these? At what danger are we at with Bowmasters getting brought back from the graveyard, etc.? Like it's especially with a Dathite Shaman on the battlefield that can start eating the Orcish Bowmasters. Lorian's revealed off the top is
my
good,
goodness.
but does he respect the Bowmaster on the other side? Casting it now for yeah, we are hard casting it. We are drawing 3 cards. Surely this Orcish Bowmaster is coming down in the face of even with a cut down. It means the cut down gets out of hand and the Deathite Shaman's still around.
Yeah, this is kind of an interesting situation because Reed knew about the cut down and also had the option to cast the Thoughtseize in his hand to take it away. And here he's getting instantly punished by his conservativeness here. I mean, Lorien revealed one of the few cards that could actually punish in this situation. And also just a card that in general has insanely interesting design, being an early game land drop that you can consistently search with. And then also late game, you can, instead of, searching for islands, you could just cast it for 5 mana to draw 3 cards, as we're seeing here. And so this might be the next little, leg that Mistman needs in order to get ahead here. And yeah, it's slowly starting to snowball.
Okay, Archmage's Charm. Steal your Deathite Shaman. Obviously, we can kill our own Deathite Shaman with this Fatal Push. Kind of an awkward one. Here comes Fatal Push on the other side to deal with the Dragon Age Chandler. Again, Reed being so disciplined here. Could have cast it, try and get the Scry trigger there. He's really valuing his life total more than any. I say it's fine, his life total more than anything. Then he casts Thoughtseize, clearly making me eat my words. Are we brainstorming in response? No, we're like, which one do you want? Brainstorm or my cut down? Do you want my removal spell or my card that draws me cards? Leaving with brainstorm, then follow up fatal push, and then brainstorm versus Orcish Bowmaster and a follow up Deathrite Shaman. Oh, this is so tight, so back and forth. Big draw step.
It's another
oh
brainstorm.
My, no. Oh, brainstorm. Draw 3 cards. Find the church. I don't even know which that one is anymore. I can't remember.
Bind to Secrecy should do it, right? Is there an Orcish Bowmasters that?
There is an Orcish Bowmasters, but do we get that first?
Yeah, it goes to your hand. It goes to your hand.
Oh, okay. Yes. Oh my.
Wait, and then there's additional text on this as well, right? You get to choose a card from the spell book as. Ooh wee. Okay, so we're getting some sweet stuff here. We get a courier bat for free as well. I mean, sign me up. When the game is this close, I will take every single thing I can get.
Okay, I'm gonna test you now. What does that card even do? What does bat even do?
So courier bat is 2 and a black for a bat creature that
has flying probably.
Yeah. That's a 2/2. I was gonna say 1/1. Dang. Okay.
Okay, so it is a 2/2.
Oh, and if you gain life to turn, okay, return up to 1 target creature. Okay, gotcha.
It's a generic 2/2. That's fine. Okay, it's a 2/2 flyer, which lines up very good against the board that Reed has, especially while Reed is at 4 life. That would be obviously as a 2-tone clock. We know that there's a Deathrite Shaman on the battlefield, though. Just another land, not what we want, but we do have this Otawara in hand, so we can bounce Deathrite Shaman after it activates 1 time. Oh, we're going to do it now in response. Okay.
Yeah, so this might just be the okay. We get the blockers. Oh my, okay. So Deathrite Shaman probably going to actually, I don't know if there are creatures. We do have our green source, so we can gain life if we need to. It'll give us 1 more draw step here through the face of the 2/2 flying courier bat. Oh, I love this line. Bouncing the Orcish Bowmasters.
Okay.
That is not what I was thinking of. You bounce the Bowmasters, you replay the Bowmasters, you can ping the face here, and you get a 2/2 that will survive the 1/1 now. And now the board state is looking so good here for Mistman. I would not be surprised if Mr. Bubble, not quite it. Yeah.
No, we don't want Bauble, we don't want to draw the extra cards.
We still gain 2 life, go to 5.
Yeah. We'll go, so we can block, go to 5. I guess in the odd chance that Bowmaster gets attacked, but we're just a removal spell from death here, right? 1 removal spell, 5 damage versus 5 life. Is this going to?
Yeah, and if we also, okay,
we still got game. We
draw step of reprieve.
Yeah, I didn't think we were attacking the Orcish Bowmaster. We can gain life. Okay, question. I don't think no, that's my answer. I was just going to say, do we crack the bauble to then gain life in our upkeep before the Bowmaster damage happens, so we get to go 2 cards deeper? A second bauble is not what Reed needs. I think that so he can go up to 3. He's going to take 4. He's going to have to chump block here. Another polluted dealt off the top for Mistman. Not what he's after, but really putting the pressure on him for Reed. He has to chump block. And this is exactly what Mistman's going to want to see here. Gain 2 life. Going to drop back down to 1.
Oh my goodness. Why do I feel like the next drop from Reed's deck is going to be actually insane? Please. Oh,
no,
okay.
It's not. It's unfortunately, this is going to be Mistman taking this game down. I say taking it down is there's no line here, right? There's nothing that these ball triggers are going to do. And yeah, he's just smells the writing on the wall. He's giving us all a show. I wouldn't be surprised if we see a fetch line crack to die on my own sword type thing from Reed. Here is a Bowmaster. That is the card he was digging for so long and couldn't get there. Unfortunately for
Okay, yeah, it
Not
looks like we
there,
just
no.
came back. All right, we just came back. Thank you, everyone. If you haven't already, hit the F5 button to get the refresh going on. But the top 4, that was the last match of round number 5. So we should now know who our top 4 is. Now, there were a couple upsets here. If the standings are ready, we'll cut to it. We'll break us down from the top to the bottom here so we can get an idea of what's going on.
Look, all I'm saying is the undefeated player here in our Swiss is none other than Elliot Dragon. Absolutely on a tear. He's been dominating the European circuit by himself, single-handedly. He's been traveling to all the Eternal weekends and absolutely putting up a tear here. And now in this brand new format of Timeless, Elliot Dragon, yet again, 5-0, clean sweep is our first seed. Talk to me about our second seed.
Well, I mean, Nathan needs no introduction here at all. He also had an amazing tournament. We got to watch him twice. First playing against, I think, the Jund Sneak Attack deck, then taking apart Ash Lizzle with the Boros Foundry deck. And I think what I have learned from watching today is that this Rakdos Breach deck is terrifying. On turn 3, we saw a kill that came out of nowhere, leveraging the power of cards like Stitcher Supplier, Diabolic Intent, Dark Ritual, and Underworld Reach for ridiculous stuff. And what's really fascinating to me is just to get a better glimpse into how resilient this combo deck is going to be. I have to imagine, though, that the Rakdos competitor in the top 4 and the finals is going to be challenging for sure.
That's the deck. You know, we've seen 2 Rakdos Breach decks taking out our first and second spot there. That is, you know, maybe we found the best deck. Maybe we are making a meta. Maybe we found the best deck. But looking second and third and fourth place, 2 Demir control decks. So we have Alexander K, better known as Missman. We just seen him there take down that game against Reed Duke, securing the 4-1. And that means Arnie, who dropped down to 3-2, he is our 3-2 that managed to sneak in 4th place, beating both Hall of Famers Reed Duke and Gabriel Nassif for that coveted top 4 slot. And then going down, we've got Niall and we've got Jamar and topping up our top 8 if we were going to cut to there. But what an absolute amazing 5 rounds of Timeless we've seen here so far, ladies and gentlemen. But that's not it. We have got more rounds of Magic. Now we're going to find out who is going to be getting to the finals, who is going to be walking away with that coveted top place money. But more importantly, let's be honest, it's the title you won. You want to say that you have found the best deck in this brand new format here on Magic Arena. A lot going on, Anu. A lot going on. We're just setting up the feature matches going on behind us. So are we having a break or are we talking? Let's see what they. All I heard in my ear was Wordle. Wordle. So, chat, we're going to pick Wordle on for you all. We're going to give you one shot at it while we set up our feature matches, while we sort out the top 4. So don't go anywhere because we're going to bring you the best 4 decks. Well, I suppose it's 2. Best 2 decks in Timeless. We'll see you shortly.